Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and guess what? I have to talk really quietly because I have a lot of people that are asleep, and when I'm recording this anyway. So here's the deal. There's going to be, since my video yesterday, there have been so many legal things coming around. I'm going to go through them as best I can. Let me see if my glasses need to be on or off here. Okay, so this James Filan had been putting out all kinds of things yesterday. And here he says, we've reached an understanding reflecting compromise of all parties, pursuant to which the defendants may examine Mr. Hinman on various issues without triggering privilege objection from the SEC. And then he goes, I'm too paranoid to use breaking anymore because I don't want anyone to have a heart attack. I thought the update was pretty bland. I am open to suggestions. Well, here on the Digital Asset Investor channel, we can use breaking. So maybe we will on this. The cancel culture won't like it, but we'll use it anyway. Okay. But so basically the gist of this is that the SEC was saying that if you do depose Hinman, we're just going to object to everything and tell him not to answer. And so now those things have been worked out. Let's just hope that they're able to ask enough questions that even matter. That's the main thing. John Deaton had weighed in on this. I'll be surprised if the parties do not come to her after the deposition to get a ruling on the privileged deliberative process issue. They may have agreed to ask certain questions and allow him to answer those questions under seal and then get a ruling. You better believe whatever he says, we're never going to find out. It's going to be secret. So go ahead and write that down. Then that'll be a little frustrating, but I still say Hinman and Clayton need to be hauled in front of Congress, and that's why we're going to continue to copy in these Congress people. I find it hard to believe that there's not one congressman out there who's going to see this and wants to do the right thing. So we're going to respectfully tweet out and keep trying to make the Congress people aware of what's going on. Okay, and then this was the other thing. Individual defendants file letter at Pearson Roisman statement. This was the big thing that came out yesterday. I'll just pull the letter up. So what happened here is and I'm not a lawyer. I'm just showing you the common sense of what happened. So on July 14th, just the other day, what's today's date? The 20th. In a matter of coin schedule, so Hester Pierce and Elad Roisman put this out. These are both two commissioners at the SEC. And let me go ahead and tell you, be very blunt about what I think this is. This is one of two things. Either Hester Pierce and Elad Roisman don't want anything to do with what this SEC is doing and what Jay Clayton did and what Gary Gensler lets continue, or, and more likely, in my opinion, Gary Gensler wants out of this deal. Or there's a third, which is all the world's a stage, of course. But this reeks, because these guys, they didn't put this out without Gary Gensler telling them they could. They'd be fired today if they did. So, but the important thing out of this is this part right here. They're talking about another case with, I guess, coin schedule. There's a decided lack. Let's see this first part. Referred to here in a company based in the United Kingdom. Well, okay. Anyway, they released this write-up. Okay, there's a decided lack of clarity for market participants around the application of securities laws to digital assets and their trading, as is evidenced by requests each of us receives for clarity and consistent outreach to the commission staff. So anyway, they're doing a whole write-up here on how there is no clarity, and meanwhile, you've got the Ripple case, and the whole issue is that the SEC is saying that Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse, they should have known, but they just kept selling this security. So, and then here's Jeremy Hogan that's weighing in on it, so you can kind of get the lawyerly feel on this thing. More clear, imagine you are a judge deciding on whether Ripple had fair notice. It was violating the law, and you look in the file and you see a letter from 2 out of 5 SEC heads stating essentially that not only Ripple didn't have fair notice, no one had fair notice. So you can see how this clown show is unfolding here. And then he says, this is the best piece of evidence we've seen on the fair notice defense thus far and would be exhibit numero uno in my motion for summary judgment. What a gift for Ripple. And it was handed to them for free by 2, dare I say, brave SEC people calling it how they see it. Now, let me see. I'm looking at these. Let's watch a little bit of video from him on this thing. I'm going to start at the 3:10 mark. And by the way, give Jeremy Hogan a subscribe. His channel is Legal Briefs. Go give him a subscribe. He's earned it.
To dismiss the first amended complaint, close quote. Now, this supplemental authority was filed on behalf of the individuals, Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, not for Ripple. Remember that they filed a motion to dismiss, meaning Brad and Chris. They filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit against them altogether, something Ripple did not do, and their motion to dismiss has not been ruled on yet, although it has been briefed. So in theory, the judge can rule on it at any time. So that's why they moved on this letter so quick and got it in front of the court. The letter is from SEC Commissioners Pierce and Roisman, and I'll tell you what the letter says in a minute. But first, recognize that we are not talking about deposing Pierce and Roisman, but only submitting a letter by them. And obviously, as we know from the fight about deposing former SEC guy Hinman, we know that deposing Pierce and Roisman would be very, very, very difficult, which means impossible. So instead, we see that the individual defendants instead ask the court to take judicial notice of the letter. Judicial notice is a way of getting evidence in front of a judge without having to depose people. And you can use Federal Rule 201, which is the judicial notice rule, to get things into evidence when it's attached to a lawsuit. As they say in the letter, quote, courts routinely take judicial notice of settlements with government and other governmental records, close quote. And that is how the letter is going to get in front of the judge, in this case, and also the Ripple case. And it's relevant to both. Boy, is it relevant. First, for the individual defendants, because the standard in that case is that the SEC has to prove that, quote, the individual defendants knew or recklessly disregarded that Ripple's offerings and sales of XRP required registration as securities and that those transactions were improper. And that legal standard is similar to what Ripple has to prove in its fair notice defense, which is its fourth affirmative defense, and here it is. Quote, Ripple did not have and plaintiff failed to provide fair notice that its conduct was in violation of law, in contravention of Ripple's due process rights. Now, why hasn't Ripple filed this letter also? Because Ripple and the individual defendants are in different procedural places. Ripple is going for the big win, summary judgment, which will provide case precedent for it and for all other cryptocurrencies. The individuals are just trying to get out of the case quick and fast. But by law, you cannot file for summary judgment, or at least have it heard, until discovery is complete. And we have another couple months before discovery is complete in the Ripple case. But this letter will be filed in the Ripple case, trust me on that. And that is because this letter is absolutely full of gems for Ripple. And here's the letter. It was written July 14, but we don't have to read the whole thing because super lawyer Matt Solomon has pulled out all the juicy pieces and put it right in front of the judge for her to see. Let's take a look. Now let's focus on the parts that Attorney Solomon helpfully bolded for us. Commissioners Pierce and Roisman observed in their letter that, quote, the only certainty we see is that people have questions about how to comply with the applicable rules and regulations. People being market participants, of course. Next, quote, there is a decided lack of clarity for market participants around the application of the securities laws to digital assets and their trading, close quote. Next, quote, although the commission has provided some guidance, the large number of factors cut against the clarity the guidance was intended to offer, close quote. Next, quote, people can study the specific cases, but applying those clues to the facts of a completely different token offering does not necessarily produce clear answers, close quote. And last, in short, we know folks have questions and confusion persists in the marketplace, close quote.
Okay, so that's the gist of it. And the bottom line is that, look, that I'm not going to play this clip, but Jamie Nix is on it here. Here's my summary. This is just me talking. I'm no attorney. Gensler either knew and wanted this for the good. Gensler either knew and wanted this, or the good people at the SEC have had enough. Just my opinion. Either way, Clinton and Hinman have a lot of explaining to do, hopefully in front of Congress. I mean, I think that this Ripple thing, I've thought from day one, this Ripple thing was either one of two things I've told you 1,000 times. This is either some crazy, awful, not conflicts of interest, that's corruption. It's either crazy corruption or all the world's a stage. So Gensler is in the play. So what I'm thinking here is that Gensler is behind the letter, wanted them to write the letter, and that you might be watching a freaking an ending to the movie. Okay, now the official Cool Guy of the Digital Asset Investor channel has weighed in, and it's always important to get a very cool perspective on what's going on. Now, while I'm playing this clip, which is 1 minute and 8 seconds, I'm going to put my coffee. I'm drinking instant coffee this morning, so I'm going to put my water. You may hear some water being run. I think I can do it in a minute. I'm going to put some water in my coffee cup. Put it in the microwave because I'm drinking instant coffee today. So listen to Mr. Cool, and if you hear any noises in the background, that's what's going on.
All right, my tie was on before. I wasn't thinking straight. This is for Senator Elizabeth Warren. You asked the right questions. With all due respect, these questions have to be asked. Why was the SEC sued by Ripple? They already did this with FinCEN. They already know their customer. They got anti-money laundering protocols in place. The SEC said they should have known they were doing something wrong. But then today, a commissioner, and yesterday 2 commissioners came out and said there isn't enough clarity. So how is Ripple supposed to know they were doing something wrong? And also, this Ethereum, they clearly had an ICO. They were going around saying fundraising. How did that director at the SEC say, we don't think it's a security? How did the founder of Ethereum come out the next day or the same day and say, they gave us good clarity, we are very happy with them? This is the greatest tech the U.S. has, Senator Warren. We have to answer these questions. You have my backing, you have my support, and I know you'll do the right thing. So everybody else, tag whoever you want, any representatives, any senators. We need the questions asked.
Yeah, I think Senator Warren, she likes to go after these type of guys. I think she would be perfect to go after these guys, but they need to be hauled in front of Congress regardless of what happens with this lawsuit, because something is really, really bad and it's not good for this country. Okay, now, speaking of, can you say, what was the term that they use? It's for an investment contract, you have to have a, I'm drawing a blank here. You have to have my water for my coffee is almost done, by the way. Anyway, you have to have a common enterprise is what I'm thinking about. This is a tweet, this is a reply to, there was an article written back, when is this? November 17th, 2020. And this is it says Mike Novogratz has admitted to buying 500 Ethereum from Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin 5 years ago. And then this is a reply from Vitalik Buterin. It was the Ethereum Foundation, not me as an individual. I'm grateful to Mike Novogratz and other early purchasers of, let me get my coffee, hold on. We are literally mixing up. I got some of this Starbucks instant coffee here. And I don't like instant coffee, but it's just something I got to do today to make do. But we're stirring it up here, and I've never done this in the middle of a show, but that's okay. You guys are used to all the issues going on here. Okay, so anyway, Vitalik Buterin, he says, not me as an individual, I'm grateful to Novogratz and other purchasers of the Ethereum Foundation's Ethereum. If it weren't for them, perhaps the Ethereum Foundation would not have survived financially, and Ethereum would have had a harder time growing to where it is today. In other words, without these guys helping with our fundraising and giving us money that we can put into this common enterprise, I mean, this is unbelievable. What's unbelievable is that Vitalik Buterin doesn't know that he shouldn't be typing this. That's what's unbelievable. And for all you young people out there, there's a lesson here. Just because someone is a genius in one lane does not mean that when they get out of their lane, they're so smart. Being a genius does not mean you're a genius in all aspects of life. That is something I've learned for sure, because that's just flat stupid what he just did. CS May 144K sent me this one. Something is afoot with all the with this regulatory situation going on in the United States. This is BlockFi, who has been flying straight for a long time. And look at this. Late Monday evening, BlockFi received an order from the New Jersey Bureau of Securities regarding BlockFi interest account BIA operations in the state of New Jersey. And then I won't go through the whole thing, but at the end it says, the order calls for BlockFi to stop accepting new BIA clients residing in New Jersey beginning July 22nd, 2021. We will continue to engage with all relevant. In other words, they're even cracking down on some of the mainstream things now. Okay, I'm not going to go far into this. I just want to show you this. This is Wrath of Kahneman. Under the radar in April, Ripple hired Sujit Bob, however you say his name, their chief economist. Before that, he was managing director and chief economist at the Clearinghouse, senior economist at the Fed of Chicago, senior economist at the Fed Dallas. As the CEO was consulting him, let's see, one major project to conduct research, lead consultant on e-payments, So you can see this is just yet again. Then there was this Brad Garlinghouse tweet was from yesterday. Congrats to our fantastic CFO, and she's never been on Twitter, I guess. He said, welcome to Twitter. And then she says, honored to Christina Campbell, honored to be a part of the newest cohort of Aspen Institute's Finance Leaders Fellowship with an incredible group of leaders. Now that Brooks Entwistle is also at the Aspen Institute. And while we're here, I decided I would show you just something about the Aspen Institute. The Aspen Institute is largely funded by foundations such as Carnegie Corporation, the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, the Gates Foundation, the Lumina Foundation. Now that one would be interesting to look at. And the Ford Foundation. So there you go. I'm going to finish by letting you know I will be buying this dip. But what I'm trying to do now is what Mr. BXRP has done here. He thanked iTrustCapital, and he's buying the dip and not paying taxes tomorrow. So he's apparently sent some money to his iTrustCapital account. This is what I'm going to be doing. I contributed to my Roth IRA, but I'm going to be contributing to my SEP IRA. And this is how I'm going to invest in the best buying opportunity we've seen in a while, is to send money to there and have some tax deferred or tax free gains, depending on which kind of IRA that you have. My coffee looks to be ready. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family to go check out iTrustCapital. All the links are in the descriptions of my videos.